Have you ever heard of a hole that just appeared out of nowhere? No sound, no tremor, no explosion. Just a perfectly round crater carved deep into the earth. And no one knows how it got there. In the middle of the night, in a remote part of Siberia, the ground opened up. Locals say they felt nothing, heard nothing. But when the sun rose, a gaping dark wound had formed in the frozen land. And this wasn't the only time. These craters have been appearing in places no one is watching, and no one understands. Today we explore a phenomenon that has baffled scientists, terrified locals, and sparked theories from natural gas eruptions, to secret military tests, to something far stranger. So buckle up, because what you're about to hear might change the way you see the earth beneath your feet. And just when we think we've found a logical explanation, the earth does something even weirder. It all started in 2014. Helicopter pilots flying over the Yamal Peninsula in northern Siberia spotted something strange. In the middle of the vast tundra, a perfectly round black hole, wide enough to swallow a 16-story building. They landed to take a closer look. What they found was a crater almost 100 feet wide and nearly 200 feet deep. Smooth, round walls. Frozen debris blasted outward, but not like a bomb. It looked more like the earth had inhaled, then exhaled violently. No impact marks, no signs of a meteorite, no seismic activity recorded. Nothing. And here's where it gets even stranger. The air near the crater was warm. The indigenous Nenets people who live in the area have a name for this place, end of the world. And they don't mean it figuratively. For centuries, they've passed down stories of the earth groaning, breathing, even whispering at night. And some villagers near the first crater said they heard those whispers the night before the hole appeared. Others claim they saw faint blue lights dancing on the horizon, almost like something leaving the earth. And while some laughed off the legends, what happened next was harder to ignore. Less than a year later, 2 more craters were discovered. One just 30 kilometers from the original. Another even deeper, with steep walls and signs that chunks of permafrost had exploded outward. Soon satellite images revealed dozens more. Some were old, now filled with water, forming eerie, perfectly round lakes. Others were brand new, raw, violent, still releasing strange gas. These weren't sinkholes. These weren't meteor impacts. Something else was happening. And when scientists tried to measure what was inside them, the instruments malfunctioned. Russian geologists rushed to the Yamal Peninsula. They suspected methane, a flammable gas trapped beneath the permafrost, might be the culprit. They collected air samples, soil, frozen rock, and yes, methane levels were extremely high. But that didn't explain the suddenness or the violence. Normally, gas builds pressure gradually, slowly. You'd expect small cracks, gradual collapse, not massive explosive craters, overnight. And yet, some of the scientists weren't allowed to publish their findings. So what could cause the Earth to blow holes in itself? Theory 1 suggests methane pockets beneath thawing permafrost suddenly explode. But this theory fails to explain why no thermal activity or heat spikes are detected before the event, whereas Theory 2 suggests mini-volcanic eruptions. But these areas have no volcanic history. Theory 3 talks about military testing, an idea whispered about but never proven. No shrapnel, no residue, no government records. Then there's theory 4. The Earth is breathing. Yes, it sounds strange. But the ground in some of these areas has been recorded heaving, rising and falling like a lung, and someone actually caught it on camera. In 2017, hikers in Siberia filmed something chilling. A patch of forest, where the ground was rising and falling. Trees swayed, the soil puffed, like the land was alive. Geologists said this could be trapped gas forcing the land upward. But this wasn't a swamp. This wasn't mud. This was solid, frozen permafrost. And the sound it made was like a whisper through clenched teeth. Permafrost is frozen ground, thousands of years old. But as temperatures rise, it starts to thaw. When that happens, gases like methane, buried since the Ice Age, are released. Some of these gases are highly flammable. In lab conditions, yes, they can explode. But not like this. Not silently. Not without heat. Not without seismic activity. And yet, crater after crater keeps appearing, and here's the twist. Some of them are now collapsing inward. In satellite time-lapse footage, researchers notice something odd. Some craters that formed in the 2010s are no longer visible. They've collapsed, disappeared, or in some cases sealed themselves shut. It's almost like the Earth is healing, but not all of them. A few have grown larger. One crater, nicknamed the Black Eye, has doubled in diameter since it was first spotted. And in one case, a drone that flew too close vanished into it. By 2020, international scientists began requesting access to the region. But not all were granted permission. Satellite footage was censored in some areas. Russian geologists went silent. Papers disappeared from academic journals. And strange files were leaked, mentioning anomalous magnetic fields near some of the craters. Files that included seismic charts, with flat lines, no movement, no quakes. And then came the strangest part, reports of sound. Locals from nearby villages reported hearing deep, low rumbles, days before a new crater appeared. Not loud, not violent, just an eerie hum, like a distant engine. And then silence. One reindeer herder said his animals refused to graze near a patch of tundra. 3 days later, a crater formed there. He never went back. But there's one case that defies all logic. In 2019, scientists set up instruments near a suspected unstable site. Thermal scanners, audio recorders, ground vibration monitors. For 12 days, nothing. On day 13, a soft, rhythmic hum began. And then, just before dawn, the instruments recorded a single deep tone, like a bass note, then silence. When the team returned, a new crater had formed, right where their sensors were. All data from the night was corrupted. And to this day, no one knows why. So what are we really looking at? A new geological process? Climate change consequences? Gas explosions? Or something more? Some fringe theorists believe these craters are connected to deep Earth phenomena, or even entrances. Entrances to what? They don't say. Others suggest they're a warning, signs that the planet is under more stress than we realize. And some? They say we've only seen the beginning, because recently, a new crater appeared, this time much closer to civilization. The latest crater was found just 30 kilometers from a populated oil base. This time, cameras were already watching, and they recorded something terrifying. No sound, no heat, just sudden collapse. 1 second, everything was still. The next, a dark round mouth opened in the earth, like it had swallowed itself. And just like before, No one can explain it. We're standing on a planet that still holds secrets. Deep, breathing, silent secrets. The question is, how many more are about to wake up? This was shadows unfolded, where mysteries don't just unfold, they echo. If you want to explore more unsolved stories from the edge of the unknown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon. The next mystery might be waiting right beneath your feet.